2025 has been awesome for the bees. They had a great start because the early summer and the spring were quite dry and warm, and the rest of the summer carried on that way. Not a lot of rain, not a lot of wind and storms, and the bees had a great opportunity to get out and forage all that nectar and pollen. I started this year with 17 colonies and I'm ending with 27. I've gained 10, most of them my own swarms. It's been a challenge, all those hives to look after, not to mention the space for the supers and the honey and the frames. The early summer wildflower honey crop we got this year was the best we've ever had. And the heather honey in August and September, I think, is the tastiest we've ever harvested. Now though, it's time to get them ready for the winter, and a lot of people ask what I do to look after them and ensure the survival through these colder months. So I thought I'd show you. It's the end of October and the bees all seem to have hibernated. They don't hibernate, by the way. Why am I still suited up with my veil on and my gloves on? I've learned from experience that even at this time of year, they can get quite feisty, especially if you're opening up when they're quietening down and starting to cluster together. And they're going to be protective of the stores as well. So if I start going in there, they've been known to come out and try and get me, which you can probably see a few on the front already. But I'm going to open the hive. I'm not going to go really into it because it's not too cold today. It's about 12 degrees. But what I don't want to do is allow too much cold into the hive, so I want to get the job done as quickly as possible. First job I'm going to do is add the Varroa strips. Now, Varroa is a nasty little mite, and it is the bane of beekeepers across the country. Just about all bee colonies in Britain have Varroa, and they can weaken bees, they can spread disease and viruses, and they've been known to destroy whole colonies and even apiaries. I rotate the treatments because they can develop resistance to the treatments you give them, can the Varroa mites. So this year I'm giving them these strips, and they give a measured release of the treatment over the next few weeks. What I'll do is leave them in there, and then in about 6 to 8 weeks time, on a day where the weather's not too bad like today, I'll take them back out again. One thing that's important is that I can only put these in once I've taken the supers and the honey off. Otherwise you can get the chemicals in there contaminating the honey. So we make sure that honey is gone, which it is. So first thing I'm going to do is remove this super. We're actually not going to use this super again now, so we're going to take that away. I'm going to take this crown board off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of these Varroa strips at each side, and I'm going to slide it down into quite a well-populated part of the hive. I'm going to put one at that side, and I'm going to put one at this side, and then straight away I'm going to put that crown board back on because I don't want them to be getting too cold or angry. So the early spring wildflower honey was amazing, the heather honey was great too, and for the first time in 4 years all the hives have got really good stores. Saying that though, the winters are quite long up here in the Highlands and can go on right through into April and May. Now I've learned the hard way by almost losing colonies in the early spring to make sure they've got enough stores. And even though they've got plenty of honey in there, I am going to give them some fondant, and I'm going to start giving them it now. So I'm using these 2.5 kilo packs. They come pre-packed like this, and they're specially made for bees. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put a slit through here, and then I'm going to open this up, and then you can see these bee escapes. I'm just going to remove one, hopefully not too many bees will fly out, and I'm going to put that over that gap there. Now hopefully giving them this extra fondant means that their own supplies will last a lot longer. And it also means that if it gets really cold, the cluster doesn't have to move too far across the hive to get to their own stores, when they might just have to move up a little bit and get the fondant from this. But I'm going to check on this again in about 6 to 8 weeks when I take the Varroa strips out. So again, we're not disturbing them too much, and I've got plenty of this fondant to last them all through the winter if they need it. When the bees cluster together inside the hive, they create warmth as they kind of vibrate in their wings to keep warm and breathing. and that creates heat, well, warmth, and the warmth rises to the top, up to the crown board, and then it hits the roof. Now, because the roof is so cold, that's where condensation forms, and that can sometimes drip back down through here, through into the hive, and it chills the bees and it causes damp and mold, and that is a dangerous thing that we don't want to happen over the winter. Think about it. If you and 3 or 4 of your mates get into a car in the middle of winter and all start breathing and, I don't know, getting sweaty for some reason, all the windows steam up, don't they? And it's the same principle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insulate the top, and I've got this, which is, it's just like an insulating material. It doesn't need to be that much. I'm going to fold it over like this. I'm going to pat that down, and that goes over the insulation. And then what I can do is just put the lid straight on that. Lid's back on. We've got the insulation and the fondant underneath it. I'm just going to strap it back down. If you want to know why I'm strapping it down, come and spend a winter up here in the Highlands. It's not unusual to get wind speeds of 80, 90 miles an hour, and that can move the hives around. It also stops the deer from moving the hive when they're scratching their back ends on it. Now, the insulation is going to keep that surface temperature above the crown board closer to the temperature in the hive, which hopefully, fingers crossed, means less condensation. It also means that any that does develop can still get out through the vents in the roof. Because remember, I didn't put the insulation all the way across. I've left a gap around the sides. So any moisture hopefully will vent out through there. Now, a few people each year send me links to various sites that show these covers that cover the whole beehive. It's basically like a big winter jacket, like the sort that you put on tanks of hot water, saying, why don't you use this? Now, the problem with that is, yeah, it'll keep the hive warm, but it also seals it completely, which means there's nowhere for the ventilation for the moisture to get out. It's very rare for a colony to die of cold. It's more common for a colony to die of either starvation or from the mold and the dampness that's in the hive. So one more thing that I'm going to do, this is a Varroa board. It's a piece of plastic, very thin piece of plastic. Under the brood box is just a metal mesh floor. Most beekeepers, especially in England, they never put these back in because of the ventilation that you need under the hive. But because it does get so cold and windy for such a long period of time, I am going to put this back in under just to give them that extra bit of protection. Now, I am going to leave a small gap, which is just enough for some ventilation to get in, but it does give them just that little bit more protection from the cold winds. Finally, I'm going to put this mouse guard on the entrance to the hive. And the problem is they eat the honey and the pollen, and they start chewing all the frames and the beeswax. They wee and poo everywhere. And the bees can't do much about it because they're all clustered and they don't want to break the cluster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this, which just narrows that space down so the bees can still get out, but the mice hopefully can't get back in. I just pin that into place in a couple of places. Just measure it out so that the bees can get in and out easily. There we go. I'll just put one on this side. It doesn't need that much, to be honest. You don't need to be screwing and nailing it in. It's just enough to hold it into place. And that will do nicely. Well, that's one done. Only another 26 to go. It does feel quite good. Do you know what I mean? Bedding them down, making sure they're safe and warm and dry and I've got plenty of food. It's like doing as much as I can, and I know there's nothing more I can do. And hopefully, by the time we get to April, May next year, we'll have a good, well-fed, healthy colony and a strong queen about to lay more brood, and then it all starts again. I was talking about the honey earlier on, and wow, we've never seen so much honey. And it's a relief because year one, we only had a couple of hives. It was actually these two behind me. And then year two, we got up to, I think it was about 10, and then started this year at 17. So at the most this year, we had 30. We've dropped back down to 27. And that is a lot of work, which I absolutely love. My back doesn't, and Sean's knees don't, but we do enjoy it. But it has meant that we've got quite a lot of honey this year. And for the first time, as well as selling it in jars, which I know you love, we're actually starting to sell it in whole frames. So this is an entire packed frame of 2025 heather honey, and we've got about a dozen of these. We've actually arranged some packaging so that we can send these out only in the UK at the moment. We can't send them outside Britain, but we can post these within the UK, and there's quite a few jars worth of honey. If you like your honey off the comb, this is for you. It is absolutely beautiful. We've put them on the website. You can order them there. I think there's a link down in the video description. But we've also still got some jars of the early summer wildflower honey, and of course jars of the heather honey all ready to go. So the link's in the video description if you like that. If you don't like honey, I'm sorry, this has probably been a waste of vlog for you, hasn't it? But we'll be back next time with something a bit different. I've got to go and do the other 26 hives now. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button and drop any comments below. If you hit the notifications bell, YouTube will let you know every time we release a new video. If you'd like to join us on Patreon or become a YouTube member, you'll get all sorts of access to behind the scenes stuff and all the clips that don't make it onto these vlogs. Failing all that, we'll see you next time. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.